happy crafting journey here, that journey chick on Instagram. Note to self, turn the camera on when you're filming. God, that's the second time I've done that. Anyway, welcome. I hope you had a great Monday. I did some Christmas wrapping of gifts. Yes. So at work, have you ever tried to wrap a football, baseball, basketball? Yeah, I did have a little help from the like button, but today I'm going to task the like button with going to the post office.
Oh no!
Yes, you have to go stand in line. If you are enjoying the content, please consider subscribing. And don't forget to ring the notification bell so you don't miss a single episode of Crafting and Crime, the show that's designed to tell you all about the live trials that are going on while you can sit and listen and craft, do your crochet, your cross stitch, your diamond painting, whatever it is you enjoy. Yesterday, I learned how to make bags out of gift wrap. Somebody said, I heard you could do that. And I said, YouTube. I looked it up on YouTube. Boom, boom, boom. I had a bag out of gift wrap. Pretty cool. Maybe I'll show you guys how to do it on Craft With Me Wednesday. So, let's do our gnome. Okay. Gnomie. Hello. It's 11 days till Christmas. Yes, it is. Oh, boy. So, the random act of kindness that we pulled out today is to open the door for someone. 11 days, 11 lords a leaping. I'm not going to sing the whole song. So have you done any of the random acts of kindness that I pulled out here? Yesterday, you're supposed to take a treat to work. So I stopped and I got donuts. I also went live. I did a drive live yesterday on Instagram. Check that out. It's That Journey Chick over on Instagram. So I did a drive live, stopped at the donut store, and got a dozen donuts for the people at work. And they're like, we're dieting. Dieting? It's Christmas time. You don't diet. Anyway, so somebody was eating those donuts. I don't know who, but I fulfilled 2 random acts of kindness yesterday because I got to bring home the treats for myself. The ones that they didn't want to eat because they were dieting, they're in the kitchen. Yeah. I'm working from home today and tomorrow, and I have a dentist appointment.
Oh no!
Yes, I do. Thank you, like button. You're so sweet. Okay. Thanks for sympathizing with me. Yes. But it's not going to cost me a lot of money because I have money in my FSA account. I have a chipped tooth and I'm going to get my teeth cleaned. So, all right, where's the journal? Where's the planner? We got it. We got it. I did decorate. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. So I wrote in dentist appointment and my sister says, what time's your dentist appointment? I'm like, I don't know. She goes, well, didn't you write it in your planner? Nope, I just put in dentist appointment. Found a little sticker that says dentist appointment. And I put it on the 14th. So I had to go through my phone, found out that it's 11:30. So I wrote in here that, yes, I have a dentist appointment today. Today is National Monkey Day. So I decorated a little bit, put some Christmas stickers there. And we're also going to talk about George Washington. Yes. Do you have your planner for next year? This one is an 18-month planner, so it doesn't end until July. So I don't have to worry about that right now. Although I get Happy Planner notifications all the time for deals. So yesterday I was looking on Amazon because I thought, oh, wouldn't it be cute to get like family t-shirts, something that said like Shilling Family Christmas. Well, it's too late. Make sure if you're looking on Amazon for a gift that you scroll down into the description and it will say, this arrives after Christmas, maybe you should look at something else, something like that, which I think is nice of them because that way you're not surprised when Christmas comes and you don't have that gift and it was going to be a Christmas thing. So moving on now. So I think if you're going to ship something somewhere, it's not going to get there by Christmas. Speaking of shipping, yeah, Sue Gaines, who lost all of her diamond paintings in the tornado, I have set up a a post on the Crafting Journey Facebook group. If you'd like to join that, you just ask to enter. It's a private group. You ask to become a member of the group, answer a couple of questions, I'll let you in. But I set up a post for her. I went through my stash. I picked out 4 paintings that I am never going to do. She told me her favorites are like landscapes, confetti. I threw in a couple of Chuck Penson's, an Oraloa painting. Just some that I just know that that have been in my stash forever. I'm just not going to get to it. Even in the year of landscapes, I have picked out the ones I want to do next year, and I'm just not going to get to these. And then I put a picture of them in that under that post so that we don't send her duplicates of the same painting. So if you'd like to donate, ship some paintings to her, let me know. I have her address, and I'm going to tell you that shipping a diamond painting probably costs between $15 and $20. So keep that in mind. And if you're going to ship more than one, it's good. Make sure that's in your budget. It's in mine. I'm okay with it. It's Christmas time, right? Yep. All right, let's drink our coffee. You're like, change the music, Mom. Jingle bells. Oh gosh, yeah. It's 50 degrees in Wichita. It is National Monkey Day. This is the day we celebrate all things simian. Yes, they are simians. There are over there are over 260 species of monkeys. Who knew? They populate Africa, Central America, South America, and Asia. Not Wichita, thank God. No, I've never seen a wild monkey in my yard. They tend to walk on all 4 limbs, as you know. And many of them are facing extinction. So, they're endangered. So the Indria monkey, found in Madagascar, he's facing I don't know if I could say this word, deforestation. That's sad. The rollaway monkey is also known as a beard monkey. They're hunted for their meat. The western chimpanzee also is threatened by hunting. And the Ecuadorian white-fronted capuchin is also hunted because they threaten people's crops. What? Did you think you were going to tune in today and learn all about monkeys? Yes. So learn more about these monkeys on the Disney Channel, which I do not watch. But there's a documentary called it's called Monkey Kingdom, about the monkeys of South Asia. They follow a family and shows us the social hierarchy that exists amongst the community. So, yeah. Remember that song? No more monkeys climbing off the bed. One fell off and hit his head. Where did that come from? I don't know. Oh my God. Let's talk about crafting and crime daily. Yes. So we know that in the Ghislaine Maxwell case, they didn't have court. They're not bringing the jury back until Thursday for the defense, who's going to put on their case, if at all. I don't expect to see Ghislaine Maxwell taking the stand. I don't know. She might be. So on this painting, I was playing color blocking yesterday. Do you ever do that when you're color blocking, just playing, making designs and stuff? So I've got to finish up this purple crystals that go here, and then the blue acrylics that go here underneath the heart, and I'll be done. So basically just finish these 2 rows up. I could have finished it up last night, but I was really tired. I really was. So I went to bed, fell asleep at like 8:30, 9 o'clock, then woke up at 11, wide awake. Yeah. Well, I woke up because the cats were bothering me. The cats were like, it's not time to go to bed, mother, Where are they? What are they up to? They're up to something. So, yeah. So I fell asleep again about 2:30 in the morning. Yeah. Anyway, so no Maxwell trial till Thursday. So as you know, I covered the George Floyd case where Derek Chauvin was convicted of murdering George Floyd. But as you know, he's also facing federal charges for violation of civil rights of George Floyd. So apparently it came out in the news yesterday that he plans to change his plea. Now, he pled not guilty to the violation of civil rights charges. So I was doing my research, trying to figure out, is he taking a deal? What's going on? Because if you change your plea, you're either going to say no contest or guilty. Now, if he says no contest, nolo contendere, then the judge can just sentence him to whatever he wants. He says not guilty, maybe they've worked out a deal. And either way, he's going to get a sentence. But I don't know what the impetus is behind that. Like, why is he doing that? I have no idea. So, there's a hearing set for 9 a.m. tomorrow. I'll try to catch that, and I'll let you know all the particulars of why he's doing it. If we can figure it out, we might not. He might just come in and do it. I don't know. Anyway, I found that interesting. So then we're covering the trial of Kimberly Potter, who shot and killed Dante Wright. She's a former Minnesota police officer. She shot Dante Wright thinking she was reaching for her taser. She reached for her gun, and she shot him. So yesterday on the stand was the medical examiner. So I'm always kind of disappointed because we don't get to see the pictures. Nope. The jury gets to see the pictures, but we don't get to see the pictures. The only thing we've seen is like at the scene after they drug his body out of the vehicle. We don't see any of that. No, it's on somebody's body cam, but we don't get to see that. So we don't get any of the good stuff. So they bring his body out, and then after they attempt to save his life, and it's futile, they put this green tent around him because crowds were gathering. So they put the tent around him, and so we've seen a green tent. So the medical examiner, he gets a call about 5 o'clock that afternoon. He's briefed on what occurred. He goes out to the scene, and he finds the green tent, and he finds Dante Wright's body, and yep, he's dead. So at this point, the crime scene investigators come, and they take pictures. The medical examiner tells him which pictures he wants, and so all the pictures are taken, and then he puts a tag on him, and then they put him in a vehicle, and they take him to the coroner's office for an autopsy. So we find out through the examination of the medical examiner that there was a lot of blunt force trauma to Dante Wright's face because he took off in that vehicle and it immediately hit another vehicle. So we know the girlfriend had a head injury. She had a concussion, a broken jaw, lacerated ear. Well, apparently he had blunt force injury on his face as well. So he must have been thrown forward in the accident. But when we see him on the scene in the car, he's slumped backwards. Passed away. Now, the medical examiner said that the bullet went in the left side of the rib cage anteriorly, so more towards the front than towards the back of his body, and then it exited on the right side. Now, but it was a hollow point bullet, so it didn't really, there was an exit wound, but the bullet was actually sitting right there in the skin. Yeah. Ooh, weird. And the reason that police officers use hollow point bullets is so that it doesn't exit the body and hit other people. But it does cause more internal damage to a body that it hits. What is going on? They're in the kitchen. They're up to something. I don't know. don't know. I'm afraid. I come out last night when the cats woke me up and my sister's winding yarn. I'm like, what's going on? She's like, well, they opened the cabinet and this one got unwound, and so she's winding it up. I'm like, oh, great. I guess that's my next hat because it's a beautiful yarn. Yeah, so these I've got to do something different than this cabinet here because they've figured out how to get the Velcro. You know, they just pull. You know, hey, well, I can pull it open, Mom, and I can get those skeins out. Yep, they're smarter than me. So the medical examiner said that this wound was fatal. He would not have survived this wound, and that he would have died within anywhere from seconds to a few minutes. He would have survived. After that, no. And he lost about 3 liters of blood. Now, there's only about 5 liters of blood in a person's body. So a massive blood loss, which you can see from when you see the photographs of the inside of the vehicle from the crime scene investigator when they processed the vehicle. Also, they did toxicology on the remaining blood to see if he had any drugs in his system, and he had very high concentrations of THC. So he was high as a kite on marijuana, which has no relevancy to the shooting. Just another fun fact about the victim. Yeah, so he was not using his best judgment, as evidenced, you know, by what we're seeing, and now we know why, because he was high as a kite. Yeah. The other reason is, and here's something that I had to go back and fact check, because this has not come out of the trial, and apparently the jury is never going to hear this. So at some point during this traffic stop, Dante Wright had a bag of Ativan, which is a benzodiazepine. It's a very heavy sedative, and he had a bag of it, and he asked his girlfriend to hide it in a private place, and she did. So when she gets to the hospital later on, so this must have occurred, well, like when Officer Lucky gets all of his information and goes back to the car, and supposedly Dante's on the phone with his mother. I think this is when this is little transactions occurring, because the Ativan was not prescribed to anybody that was in that vehicle. Yeah, so Dante would have been in big trouble for the Ativan. So when his girlfriend gets to the hospital, she's being guarded by a police officer in the hospital room. She tells him, hey, I got this bag of Ativan stuffed up my hoo-ha that Dante asked me to, hide. So the judge apparently has ruled that that has no relevancy to whether Kim Potter shot him or not, whether she's guilty of shooting him or not. Which I could see the argument, but another fun fact that the jury doesn't get to hear. So let's go back to the medical examiner. He says that the cause of death was the gunshot wound, and that the manner of death was homicide, which we knew that was. But the defense's only cross that they could do was, to get the medical examiner to describe how homicide doesn't actually mean, it's not a legal term. It's just, it's just a manner of death. You can either die by suicide, at your own hands, a natural death, which means your body just deteriorated, unknown, which means they have no idea why you died, or homicide, which is at the hands of another. So this was a homicide. This person died because of the actions of someone else. So the next person to testify is a crime scene investigator. She tells how she processed the scene, how they processed the vehicle. they have to bring all this because they bring in pictures and things like that. Then they put this officer from it's the state level of investigation. The state gets involved in these cases when there's an officer involved shooting. The department that she worked for is not the entity that's going to investigate this crime. It's going to be someone from this state level. So this officer comes in and he testifies, and he's pointing out the difference between a laser or a taser and a gun. And apparently there's quite a bit of weight difference. The taser weighs less than a pound. A gun weighs over 2 pounds. So I've got a picture here of the gun and the taser side by side. The taser would have been on Kim Potter's left side. The gun would have been on her right side. The taser would have required that she flip a switch. Well, first of all, she had these holsters that were snap-in holsters. So she would have had to unsnap the holster. She would have had to withdraw the weapon or click the, I don't know what it was. There's a tab on the thing. She'd had to flip that tab. Then when she pulled out the taser, once that tab is pulled, you press a button to activate the taser. And he demonstrated that. There was a big hoo-ha. The bailiff comes out and hands the guy a battery, and he puts the battery in the taser, and he turns around, and the attorney's very careful to say, please do not point that at the judge. And he turns around and he points it at the wall. And when it's activated, you see a flashlight come on and this green laser light. So it's pointing wherever you're going to tase. Now, he didn't tase anybody. He didn't tase the wall or anything like that. But had she gone for her taser, she should have felt the weight difference. She should have had to pull that tab. She should have seen the green light going to Dante. None of that. No. She grabs she grabs her gun, and there's even a point where they point out on film, it wasn't with this officer, it was with another officer that was on the stand, points out on the body cam, the squad body cam, where you can see all of the officers, and you can see Kim Potter going behind Officer Lucky as they're approaching the vehicle to make the arrest, and you see her reach her holster over the gun. And usually, and this is what the officers, usually that means we're unsnapping the holster in case we need to get to that gun. She didn't do anything over here with the taser. She was doing stuff over here with the gun. Then another big bone of contention yesterday, and it took up hours because the prosecution was trying through a witness, one of the Office of Criminal Investigation, another one of these officers, to get him to give an opinion about where Officer Johnson's body was when this taser went off. And they were walking him through step by step at 2 seconds, at 3 seconds, at 4 seconds. Where's his body? Where's his body? And the defense is really objecting. He's like, the film speaks for itself. This is not for this officer to opine where this guy's body was. The jury can see the film and they can decide for himself where this guy's body was. Because one of Kim's defenses is that his body was in the vehicle, and she felt like if she didn't get this guy under control, he was going to drive off with Officer Johnson in the vehicle. So every time the prosecution tried to question this witness, the defense was arguing. So they'd go sidebar. He'd start again, they'd go sidebar. Then they took a break. They come back from the break, he asks a question, they go sidebar. So finally the judge says, okay, we're going to go to lunch. She comes back from lunch, he tries to ask a question, they go sidebar. So finally she said, listen, I have sustained this objection multiple times. I am not going to allow this officer to give an opinion about where Officer Johnson's body was at any point in time. It's all on the film. The jury will have this film. When they deliberate, they will be able to view it as many times as they want, and they can figure out where his body was. when this taser went off. No more questions from the prosecution of that witness. I thought that was really interesting. But this went on for hours, them arguing about this. And she kept saying, one word objections only, and they have this system where they can put these headphones on and microphones and mask, and they can sit at their desk and talk to the judge, and the judges, instead of actually going sidebar. In the old days when I practiced, when you went sidebar, you walked up to the judge, and the judge had a little button that they could press, and you'd hear white noise. Psst, I don't have a thing for that. You'd hear the white noise. And why did my computer go off? I think we lost power here. Power must have flickered because my computer went off. Anyway, we would just go up to the judge, and all of us would be huddled around the sidebar, and we would have our thing. Well, now they have this system where they can just stay where they are and, whisper to the judge, and she's talking back, and nobody can hear them. It's like she's like on this walkie-talkie, and it's weird. It's really weird. And then at one point they were back in their chambers, and then it was, yeah. So, very interesting day at the Potter trial. And let's see, there are no other trials. No other trial news that I have for you, and I can't press any more buttons because I have to reset the computer. Anyway. Goodness gracious. I am not looking forward to going to the dentist. So this day in history, George Washington passed away. Yes. In 1799, December 14th, 1799, George Washington passed away. He was 67 years old. Now, George Washington was a very famous military leader, and every time, he would try to retire back to his estate in Mount Vernon, his plantation, he would have to come out of retirement because they just loved him, and his final out of retirement was to become President of the United States. They created the office just for him, and he took the office. That was in 1789. Upon taking the presidency, he said, "I walk on untrodden ground. There's scarcely any part of my conduct which may not hereafter be drawn in precedent." So he successfully implemented executive authority, making good use of brilliant politicians such as Alexander Hamilton and Thomas Jefferson in his cabinet. And he quieted fears of presidential tyranny. Yeah, they thought, oh dear, here comes another king. No, he wasn't like that at all. He was re-elected unanimously in 1792, and then later refused a third term. He wanted to go back to his plantation in Mount Vernon. And at his eulogy, Henry Lee, a very good friend of his, he died 2 years later. He refused the third presidency, goes back to Mount Vernon, and 2 years after that, he passes away. The eulogy said, "First in war, first in peace, and first in the hearts of his countrymen." Now, in this day and age, most men didn't live past the age of 50 because of war and disease. Now, he's already well into his 60s. So he really didn't think he had a very long life expectancy. A typical retirement day for George Washington was he would get on his mount and he would ride to each part of his property for about 6 hours, checking on progress. Then he would return home after a long day of riding, and then he would have guests over his house for dinner. Some say that his estate received as many as 677 guests in 1798, the year prior to his death. On December 12th, George Washington follows his usual routine. He goes out into this bone-chilling cold. He comes home after this whole day in this horrible weather, doesn't change his clothes, which are all, wet and damp with coldness, because he's got guests and he doesn't want to be late for dinner. So he sits there in this bone-chilling cold. Then he goes out the next day and does the same thing. And by the end of the day, he's suffering from this horrible chest congestion, and he passes away the next day. So he was laid to rest out on his estate at Mount Vernon. So that's The story of George Washington. Yep. Pretty, people loved this guy. They really, really did. Very much loved. So I hope you enjoyed the show today. Again, I'm going to, we'll stay tuned tomorrow where we'll listen to the hearing of Derek Chauvin. We're going to continue listening to the testimony in the Kim Potter case over the death of Dante Wright. And don't forget to check out my posts in Crafting Journey for a donation to Sue Layden, who lost all of her diamond paintings in the tornadoes that happened on Friday. If nothing else, just keep everybody in your thoughts and prayers that suffered through those horrible weather conditions on Friday. So thanks to you all. I will see you tomorrow in Crafting and Crime Daily. I love you. Bye.